You know that feeling, right? That instant flash of white-hot pain, that sheer panic when you get stung. Turns out that's not just you, that fear. It's ancient. It's practically written into our genes, and it's something shared across so much of the animal kingdom.
It really is. The sting is, well, it's a primal force, a biological weapon that's shaped evolution for millions of years. Predators learn to fear it, prey depend on it, it forces life to adapt or,
Listen,
disappear.
totally. So today we're doing a deep dive into the evolution of stingers, and we're going beyond just the usual bees and wasps. We're looking at the incredible ways these powerful delivery systems came about in insects, arachnids, jellyfish, even a mammal, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, our mission today is to figure out why they hurt so darn much. We'll unpack that famous hierarchy of pain, the Schmidt Sting Pain Index, and trace the, frankly, bizarre origins of venom itself. There's some real surprises hidden in the world's most feared defenses.
Okay, let's start where most stingers live, I guess. Insects. Specifically, that big venomous order Hymenoptera, so bees, wasps, ants. When we look at them, we're seeing some extreme evolutionary tinkering, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. And the backstory of the insect stinger is, well, it's genuinely weird. It seems totally disconnected from what it does now, as a weapon.
Right, it didn't start as a weapon at all, did it?
Not even close. The stinger in Hymenoptera actually evolved from the female's egg-laying organ, the ovipositor. And that's the key reason why usually only females of these species can sting. They basically repurpose their reproductive gear into a defense system.
That's just a staggering evolutionary pivot. Wow, but you can still see traces of that original job in some species.
Exactly. Parasitic wasp is a perfect example. They still use their stinger, their modified ovipositor, to inject eggs directly into their victims. It creates this, well, this truly horrifying nursery for their young.
Okay, thinking about the more common stingers like bees and wasps, there are two really different strategies there, based on just a tiny physical difference in the stinger itself.
Yeah, it's a fundamental split between, conservation and total sacrifice. Most wasps, they have smooth stingers. This lets them inject the venom, pull the stinger right back out and fly off, ready to sting again. It's efficient, built for reuse.
At the honeybee, that's a whole different ballgame. Seems incredibly costly for the individual bee.
It is costly, hugely costly for the bee, but it seems strategically vital for the hive's survival. The honeybee has a barbed stinger, so when that stinger goes into thick skin like ours, mammal skin, it gets stuck. Those barbs anchor it in, and when the bee tries to pull away or get swatted, the whole venom sac and stinger assembly just rips right out of its body. The bee is eviscerated. It dies pretty quickly after that.
That's a brutal exit strategy, but that act of self-sacrifice, it serves a crucial function for the rest of the colony, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. See, when that stinger apparatus gets torn out,
Yeah.
it actually keeps pulsing for maybe up to a minute, pumping in more venom, which is bad enough for the victim. But crucially, it also releases a massive dose of alarm pheromones, chemical signals, that instantly alerts the rest of the hive, tells them there's danger right here, right now, and it triggers this huge, overwhelming defensive swarm.
An effective system, definitely, though, yeah, tragic for the individual bee. And it's something we need to respect, especially since, what is it, about 5 to 7.5% of people, they'll have a severe allergic reaction to an insect sting at some point.
Right, which brings us perfectly to the agony scale itself, the Schmidt Sting Pain Index, scale of 1 to 4, created by entomologist Justin O. Schmidt, who kind of famously let himself get stung by tons of different species just to categorize the pain. How do you even start quantifying something so subjective like pain? Schmidt did it with these incredibly detailed, sometimes hilarious, sometimes pretty horrifying descriptions. He wasn't just noting the physical reaction. He was capturing the experience of the sting. That's what makes his index so vivid. Let's jump right near the top, starting at a solid level 3 pain.
Okay, number 3, the warrior wasp from tropical South America. And the pain description is legendary, like being chained to an active volcano.
Yeah, think searing, burning, just prolonged agony. And unlike a lot of stinging insects that only sting as a last resort, the warrior wasp, it's known for being aggressively defensive. It often initiates the conflict. It's kind of an insect that often chooses violence first, you could say. But the intense pain, thankfully, only lasts about 2 hours.
Only 2 hours, right. Okay, moving up to level 2 pain. Oh, wait, the scale goes up in pain level, right? So #3 is less than #2.
Good catch. No, my mistake. The scale goes 1 is mild, 4 is the worst. So the warrior wasp is a 3, which should actually be going up the scale. Let's talk about level 4 then.
Okay, wait, let's stick with the outline structure for clarity, maybe. It had warrior wasp, #3, Then tarantula hawk, #2 according to Schmidt's descriptions, even if the pain is shorter. Then bullet ant, #1
Yeah.
top pain. Let's do tarantula hawk next.
Right, right. The ranking isn't just pure intensity, it's the whole experience. My apologies.
Yeah.
Okay, level 2 then. On Schmidt's descriptive scale, even though the pain is shorter, the truly unsettling tarantula hawk wasp, this thing is enormous. Can grow up to, what, 4 inches?
Yeah.
11 centimeters long? Just seeing one is intimidating.
And its behavior is even creepier than its size, from what I read. This brings back that horrifying nursery idea.
It really does. These huge wasps use their incredibly powerful venom not to kill, but to paralyze live tarantulas. The wasp then drags the spider, completely immobilized but still living, mind you, to a burrow, lays a single egg on it, and then seals it in. The wasp larva hatches and just slowly eats the paralyzed spider over weeks.
Okay, that whole sequence. Paralyzing it, dragging it off, making it a living pantry, it's pure nightmare fuel. Does the spider, ever wake up from that?
No. The venom is designed for long-term paralysis. Keeps the spider fresh, essentially, until the larva's done. As for what happens if you get stung, Schmidt's famous advice was just, and I quote, lay down and scream.
Excellent. Very practical. But the pain itself, while maybe incredibly intense, it's actually quite short, right?
Exactly. Shocking pain, but it only lasts maybe 5 minutes, which I guess feels like an eternity in the moment. But that brings us to the undisputed champion of Hymenoptera pain. The top of the scale, level 4.
The bullet ant, Central and South America. This is the one. The sting that feels famously like you've literally been just shot.
Yep. That's the pinnacle of insect agony. It delivers a potent neurotoxin called ponerotoxin. And what's interesting is the ant often grabs on first with its big mandibles. Not really to bite you, but just to get a solid grip so it can really drive that stinger in, maybe multiple times.
And what's so fascinating here is that despite having this nuclear option for pain, the sting is actually its last resort. Seems like overkill for an ant, but they are pretty big ants and they're down on the forest floor, right? Easy targets.
Which raises that great question. Why evolve such a massive sting if you're trying to avoid using it? Because their whole strategy is avoidance first. Before it even thinks about stinging, it uses this whole layered warning system. Gives predators multiple chances to back off. Taste, sound, visual cues.
It really puts on a performance. They apparently smell like burnt garlic. A chemical, I taste bad, warning. They make a rhythmic squeaking sound like a tiny rattlesnake, a clear audio warning. And visually, they're bright, shiny, stark black. A visual warning, too.
Right. Only if a predator ignores all 3 of those signals does the ultimate deterrent come out. But here's the thing. Despite that agonizing pain, a single bullet ant sting won't kill a person. Theoretically, maybe 250 stings could kill a 150-pound human, but thankfully no human deaths have ever actually been reported just from the ant stings alone.
Excruciating, but survivable. Okay. And maybe a quick honorable mention for the velvet ant, which isn't an ant at all, right? It's a wingless female wasp, sometimes called the cow killer, known for incredibly painful stings and similar warning tactics, bright colors, sounds, chemicals. The insect world definitely invested heavily in painful warnings. Okay, let's pivot now, because stingers aren't just an insect thing, are they? Not exclusive to Hymenoptera. And as you mentioned earlier, the evolutionary timeline for these weapons gave us a huge clue about how nature develops tools like this.
Yeah, and this is really critical to understand. The sequence. The ability to make the poison, the venom, it actually came before the ability to inject it effectively. There was a genomic study showing that venom proteins evolved in the ancestors of these stinging creatures way before the physical delivery system, the stinger itself, was fully formed.
So, chemical first, injector second. Wild. Okay, applying that outside insects, let's look at the classic non-insect stinger user, scorpions, arachnids.
Scorpions. Yeah, iconic stingers. Theirs is right there on the tail in that final segment called the telson that holds the venom glands. And the stinger itself, the sharp bit, it's structurally amazing. It's hardened with heavy metals, things like zinc, iron, manganese, makes it incredibly tough and sharp.
And I heard scorpions can be pretty strategic about using their venom, which makes sense, right? Making venom must take a lot of energy.
A huge amount of energy. So yeah, they can tailor the dose. They might give a full, powerful shot if they're hunting or really threatened. But other times, they might deliver what's called a dry sting. You get the painful stab, but they hold back the venom, conserving it maybe for a minor annoyance.
Smart. And speaking of potent venom, the death stalker scorpion. Found in the Middle East, North Africa. It's one of the most dangerous in the world. Surprisingly small, but packs a huge punch.
And here's where we hit one of those amazing twists in biology. While the death stalker's sting is incredibly dangerous, potentially lethal to humans. That same venom holds compounds that might actually help heal us.
Wait, really? This terrifying toxin, evolved to kill or paralyze prey, is being studied to treat. What?
Brain cancer, believe it or not.
Yeah.
A specific compound in the deathstalker venom, called chlorotoxin, is being researched right now. They found it seems to selectively bind to cancer cells, but not healthy cells. So it could potentially help surgeons identify or even target tumors with, unprecedented accuracy. That kind of biological recycling from weapon to medicine, it's just profound.
That is genuinely astonishing. Okay, from one scary system to another, let's go underwater. Jellyfish. These things apparently sting something like 150 million people every year, and their mechanism is totally different, no needle involved.
A completely different evolutionary path, yeah. Their tentacles are covered in thousands, millions maybe, of these microscopic harpoons called nematocysts, stinging cells. Each one contains a tiny coiled barbed thread, the actual stinger. When something brushes the treads on the cell, seawater rushes in incredibly fast, like less than a millionth of a second fast. That explosive pressure forces the barbed stinger and the venom to shoot out like a tiny, powerful projectile.
That speed is almost unbelievable. And while, yeah, most jellyfish stings are just annoying, maybe painful, the box jellyfish is up there with the most lethal creatures on Earth, isn't it? Also, let's just bust the myth while we're here. Peeing on a jellyfish sting doesn't help, right?
Yeah, correct. Total myth. Doesn't work. The scientific consensus is that vinegar is actually the thing to use for many types of stings. It seems to help stabilize the venom and, crucially, stop any unfired nematocysts on the skin from discharging more toxin. So vinegar, not other fluids.
Good to know. Okay, finally, let's hit the real biological curveball, the venomous mammal.
The platypus.
Ah, the platypus. Yeah, that walking, swimming, egg-laying puzzle of an animal. It doesn't have a stinger like an insect or scorpion, obviously. But the males, they have these sharp, venomous spurs on their hind ankles.
Seems almost like an afterthought defense system. But its main job is surprisingly specific, isn't it? It's not really for predators. Not primarily, no. It seems to be used almost exclusively by males against other males during fights over territory or mating rights. The venom is nasty stuff, potent enough to kill small animals, and it can cause absolutely excruciating, long-lasting pain in humans. Yeah. But yeah, it's an evolutionary tool mainly for male-on-male combat. Very different use case than most venoms we've discussed.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this journey through stingers tell us? We've seen them evolve from egg-laying equipment into these complex defense tools used for everything from paralyzing prey to sending out chemical alarms. The sheer range of pain and lethality across the animal kingdom is just vast.
And zooming out, looking at the big picture, it's this beautiful, it's sometimes terrifying example of biological ingenuity, isn't it?
Yeah.
These mechanisms honed over millions of years, they often contain these incredibly sophisticated chemicals that, as we saw with the Deathstalker, are now actually changing human medicine. The deadliest biological weapons sometimes hold the keys to profound medical breakthroughs. The chemical terror contains the potential chemical cure. It's quite something.
It really is. Okay, so we've established the venom came before the injector, and the stinger often evolved from the female reproductive system. Now, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. If venom mostly evolved for pain and defense against predators, what kind of really intense, really specific evolutionary pressure do you think drove the platypus to keep a venom system that's used almost solely for males fighting other males? Why keep it just for that? Something to mull over next time you see a picture of that oddly cute but secretly armed creature.